This plaque is a testimony to the planning prowess of Lieutenant Colonel Punk Stolper, who for the past 2 years has desperately promoted himself as an inexperienced and uninitiated joint force planner, lacking the advanced warfighting skill credentials and joint planning group light hours that his colleagues all seem to be born with. This was, in fact, a thin and ineffective cover for his true weakness, an inability to say no. Time away from home base is never easy, and even less so when it is 13 time zones away. Placing himself at the point of friction, the hallmark of any great leader, Punk began his planning career in the baptismal fire that is Honolulu. Or was it Newport, Rhode Island? Unable to turn down this strictly professional opportunity that was not up to him and in no way a matter of his doing, this joint warfighter quickly found himself a subject matter expert for national resourcing guidance that he did not write or wholly understand. Through shared initiative and a healthy dose of frustration, he took it upon himself to educate and re-educate the Joint Staff and OSD on what it was they think they said, convincing them that sometimes the best answer to a tough question is no answer at all. When confined to the windowless tool shed we call home, Punk's sporadic fitness habits, unabashed sweet tooth, and bottomless conversational depth made this office a little bit brighter. Making schmaltz was his primary coping mechanism, balanced by a daily infusion of day-old commissary baked goods, Midwest licorice, and peculiar cupcake eating habits that Europe fitness-based candy baskets out of business. This endless supply of simple carbohydrates ensured Punk was never at a loss for words or energy on any topic of discussion, no matter how ridiculously late in the day his opinion was needed. His torrent of explanations were a source of awe to otherwise occupied peers and a cognitive fire hose to be managed by his superiors. Whether on official travel or by himself, slugging it out in the plan shack, Punk brought people together. So perhaps he was a planner after all. He reminded us that it's not a master's degree in operational strategy that makes the staff leader. It's mostly about being a team player and growing alongside the rest of the crew. Of course, there was his year-long sabbatical in the German Alps. Probably best not to brag about that in a division full of Marines. Fair winds and following seas.
Now that you're here, welcome. Hey, for those who don't know me, Dan Murphy, I'm the division chief for the planning division, and like I say, actually a couple nice things about Punk since we just spent a good 25 minutes roasting him. Punk, well, I'll start with one main thing first. I threatened to, at one point, to buy Punk a metronome. To set it at a slower speed to make him talk slower when he's briefing, because he has a habit of just rapid firing out. But Punk was a fantastic officer who literally was a fire and forget weapon. You know, being in Europe, we focus a lot on the Russian problem set, and that is our main focus. And then we do some southern flank stuff, right? Will? Don't worry, I won't move. But we also have to provide input to Indo-PACOM and on the China problem set. And Punk was the one-man show doing that. And what was great about Punk is I could give him very minimal guidance, tell him to go forth and do great stuff, and then he would do it and then come back and kind of be like, this is where I'm at, and hopefully I didn't mess it up. I'm like, no, Punk, you're doing great. What Punk didn't realize, and I didn't realize at the time when I gave him such a loose leash, is at one point OSD was going to flip the scheduling of the China and the Russian problem set, so the China problem set came first in the plans review process. So now everything Punk was working on impacted the Russian problem set, and for all the resourcing guidance and everything else. So Punk, even though you were the China planner, he ended up being a Russian planner at heart. So really appreciate it, man. And you know, in the Marine Corps, we never say goodbye, we say see you around. But at least this time I know I'll see you around, because you're just going down south.